better than you know yourself. So there's no need to lecture about this whatsoever. But the second bullet is really important when we talk about performance versus reach. So there's an art to blending these things, right? You want to make a promotion that's really authentic, that is likely to drive virality. Like it gets a lot of views because it's buzzy and it might sound or look good and is sort of like eye catching. But there needs to be a hook in there that actually leads to performance. And I want to give a quick example from my past work. Um, we were helping a photo editing like app, a company that develops software in the form of a photo editing app, and that company was really looking to make back their money in the form of premium subscriptions. So they would work with us, they would pay us to get influencers to run these promotions, but what they were really measuring were the number of premium subscriptions from followers that signed up after seeing the ad. And what we learned along the way was that there were certain like features in the app that were both really buzzy, so you could make like very native and fun content about them. And the one I'm thinking of in particular is like background removal, so you could like pull people out of photos and be like my girlfriend won't see my like whatever mistress in this photo. Like you can get like as crazy as you want with it, whatever. But that hook not only drove a lot of views, but it tied directly to the point of the app that drove premium subscriptions. So there are ways that you can like, and we are here to help with this too, with offers that we might be able to pass along. Think about like, okay, what is the thing that is going to make the advertiser money, and how can I turn it into like buzzy content that works well? So there's an art, there's a science to this. Like the art, of course, is how you bring it to life, and the science is how everyone measures the results coming from it. But it's really important to think like, all right, what is the KPI the advertiser is expecting, and how can I bring that to life in a very authentic way?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think kind of how I think about it, Alex. You described it great, but it's like the top of the funnel is views, and then that turns into a click, which
Yep.
ultimately maybe turns into a form fill, which maybe turns into someone checking out and purchasing somebody, putting in their credit card and hitting go, and like basically the bottom of the funnel is where that credit card is charged, whereas the top of the funnel is just seeing an ad out in the interwebs.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I hope we're not like just chucking out like marketing jargon without explaining it. The funnel, exactly as Andrew said, is like the progression from seeing something to like acting on it. So when we use that term, that's kind of what we're explaining. But that might be common knowledge. I don't want to be too
Yeah, exactly.
redundant.
Cool. Yeah, so jumping to, I guess, our next hot topic. I think one thing that obviously goes along with a recessionary period is just like less marketing spend. Brands, will try to start to maintain some of their cash, and during bullish times, you want to buy growth. You want to use a ton of spend a ton into user acquisition, and that kind of is naturally one of the first places that gets pulled back during a recession. You look at your P&L and you look at the different line items on it, and marketing is always one that gets targeted super early on. But I think some good news for the creators out there listening to this is my thesis is that ad dollars may come down overall. They will come down overall, but I think people will shift those budgets to the creator economy, places like creators and influencers. So while the whole marketing ecosystem may feel some pain, I actually think if you're insulated in creator world, you might not even notice at all that there is a recession going on, because I think the tailwinds that we're seeing, the engagement that our channel drives is so strong that really like the shift things are going to shift in that direction, and it's going to continue to be high growth. So I guess we may have led with a little bit of bad news about the recession, but I'm here to offset that with a little bit of good news. And I really think that everybody that's listening to this, all creators, everybody that this is relevant to, I feel strongly that we're well positioned to kind of weather the storm. And I actually think things are going to shift more towards our direction. So stay where you're at, don't panic, keep
Yeah.
creating, and yeah.
I want to layer in some more optimism if that's cool. And this is actually like just again from some of my like history in the space and working through the COVID crash. So not exactly the same situation. That was like a pretty quick drop off, and like parts of the economy recovered quicker than others. But we're at Jet Fuel, which is again where I was working before this, which manages the plug, is like a sort of product within the company. Um, we were very worried about this exact phenomenon of marketing budgets like totally getting wiped off the face of the earth and like everything stalling out to zero. But what we noticed is that certain industries, in particular, what we're talking about now, like digital services and like direct response offers that are focused on performance, grew a ton during the COVID crash, and actually were like positioned very well to see growth. I mean, that was also because everyone was stuck inside on their phones, and that was largely to do with like the mobile explosion during that time. But um, focusing on performance, like and in particular creator performance, led to us growing our business faster than ever, and also giving more earnings to creators, like more than we'd ever seen during a period of economic slowdown. So as Andrew said, like we're in a very good channel right now, I think, of the overall economy to get earnings to creators, and to just like stay in a healthy place. So I think there is a lot to be optimistic about. It just we all have to like pull it together here, like
Yeah,
find the best practices. Yeah,
the other thing I'd say, like, if you're thinking about like what spaces could I move into, I'm in a place that's not particularly recessionary proof,
yeah,
and I'm looking for a new space to maybe go to that should be able to thrive a bit more during the downturn. I think the creator economy is a great place to look into and start to learn more about and kind of invest your time and potentially your career into, because at least in the short term, like I said, I think it's very well positioned where other industries are going to feel more pain.
yep, yep.
Next slide. Yeah, so I think I guess some of the reasons behind kind of why I'm saying we're so well positioned. I think brands just generally across the board have seen enormous success with TikTok and specifically creators within TikTok and other similar platforms. I think the engagement rates are never seen before highs for brands, and kind of some of the less polished, more authentic, raw content, if you will, actually turns into very high performing ads. So I think for that reason, that's one of the reasons that we're well positioned. And like I said before, I think if you look back actually to the 2008 recession, kind of the brands that were traditionally spending in TV and radio and some of those really traditional media channels actually, that was almost a shock in their system to shift their spend and kind of get out of their old ways and to shift it into digital and online things like the early days of Facebook and Google at the time, where they were actually able to take a minute. Hey, what are we doing here? What can we do better? Like we need to reassess, and then kind of change their focus into the more engaging, better returning channels, such as which was digital at the time. And I think similar to what happened in 2008, I think brands are going to kind of have to take a second, reassess where are we spending our money, what's the best return on ad spend, and I think that time and time again, you've seen statistics come out and say spend it on creators and spend it on platforms like TikTok. So I think kind of my bullish comments before about our ability to kind of withstand this downturn, I think are largely driven by those two things. What else we got? Yeah, so I think some ways that you can take advantage of this part is one, making really high quality ads, which kind of goes without saying, and I think using channels like TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, or Twitch, any of those kind of up and coming platforms, I think using those and then making really native ads that fit really well with what your normal content is, and just kind of saying and promoting brands that you actually do understand intimately and you feel a good connection to. I think that will lead to much higher conversion. And when possible, don't just ask for a flat rate. Don't say I want X to just post this. If you're able to create really good ad content and make it native and connect with your audience, you should actually almost always try to work on some type of revenue share, or where you're also sharing in the upside of the brand, because
Hmm.
if you're able to really drive that much value to the brand, you should be getting some of the upside as well. So I would say don't sell yourself short. I know it's very standard in the industry just
Hmm.
to get a flat rate, and it feels comfortable and it feels great and you know exactly what you're getting into. But I think if you're confident in your content creating abilities and your ability to connect with your audience and create that community, then you should, bet on yourself and kind of go in on some revenue sharing or performance
Yeah.
based ad campaigns.
Yeah, yeah, and I just want to build on that a little bit more. Like pulling back the curtain on what advertisers are expecting and wind up doing with the content. This is all tied to performance, and brands are increasingly becoming like their own media buyers. So like in the traditional model, a brand would maybe lean on an agency to handle their media buying. So they would go out, they'd make a bunch of assets with the marketing team, they'd bring it to an agency, the agency would run it on like Facebook, Google, wherever else. They would try and get as much exposure as possible and package that all up and bring it back into the brand. And now they have the tools to run ads like way more efficiently themselves. But what they don't have yet is creator content to fuel that. And so, as Andrew said, it's very easy to just like take an offer from a brand for like whatever it might be, a flat fee to get an ad. But what they will likely wind up doing is going and running that ad in a way that is performance minded and is actually going to like prop up the bottom line that they need to hit. And instead of structuring it around a simple upfront payment, if you can speak with them and see if you can negotiate about sharing the upside that comes from running the ad profitably on other channels, they would first of all probably be very impressed that you have the acumen to like ask for that. I think it's like an insider's sort of secret, and again, the upside is just way higher, and it keeps the performance minded angle there. It's like we're gonna do this together. You need my help as a content creator that is making like world class, one of a kind content that you like and that matches with your brand. But I also understand that there's this performance angle, and we can share the wins that we can both get from it. So I think it just ties back to our point about like performance being the leading way generally, but in particular when times get tough, and to structure your deals in a way that sort of give more life to the content you're making.
Yeah, I got a question from the chat. I think it's definitely directed mainly at Alex, our head of revenue, as he works with a ton of brands, all of the brands actually that we work with. What are brands looking for in high quality ads?
Yeah. So I mean, this is going to vary pretty wildly, I think, right? Like there are some brands that are super freewheeling. Like they're going to say, "Hey, creators know best. Like we're not even going to look at it. We're just going to trust that they're going to make high quality ads that resonate with their audiences. Let it rip." And then there are others who are going to say, "We need our legal team to review every word they say. We're going to give them a script. We're going to give them guidelines. We're going to approve everything." So I mean, there's a total spectrum as far as what they're comfortable with. But I think generally, in my experience, most advertisers are looking for that like very sort of pure play, like TikTok testimonial, right? The like speaking to the camera, clearly talking about the value prop of whatever you're trying to sell, some personal hook. Like usually they like either green screen showing you like using the product in some way, or actually like a third person kind of view of a product walkthrough. I think that's like the simple answer. I mean, there's a million different creative ways to like make ads great, but on the whole, when we get feedback from advertisers who are maybe not super satisfied with what they have already, they're looking for that like very classic TikTok testimonial ad. I think that's like the yeah, what they're looking for.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll send it back to you, Andrew.
Cool. Yeah. If we want to jump on to the next slide. So yeah, I guess this is another kind of macroeconomic theme that just runs true in recessionary downturns. But brands kind of have to refocus on profit generation. There's a general theme in business that when times are bad, you look back at your P&L and you preserve cash as much as you can, and you kind of just try to bunker down, make it through the winter. Then you can open the things back up when times turn back around. And I think that holds true, that brands and executive teams are largely going to be focused around profit generation, and one of the largest line items of spend in any company is marketing. So again, the spotlight's going to be shown on that, and they're going to be shown on, hey, if you're spending X amount in marketing, you better be making Y, and Y better be more than X. And I think in very bullish times, people kind of lose that discipline. It's kind of just like, hey, like we're going to be growing, 1,000,000% month over month forever, and their cash is dwindling in the meantime. But that definitely isn't the case during times like this. Kicking it to the next slide. Yeah, so I think we've kind of hit this theme over the head. So I'll keep it somewhat quick, but again, there people are going to move away from branding and towards performance that they can prove in the numbers. It needs to be a most trackable performance that's foolproof and saying, "Hey, for every dollar we spend, we make two." So,
Yeah.
um,
Would it be
like it's
helpful if
okay
we
to scale. Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Alex.
maybe we could just do an example, like even from our experience about like what this looks like in real terms. So I'm thinking like a simple example is like we're talking a lot about sort of like the digital ecosystem because a lot of the performance focused advertisers that we work with happen to be like mobile apps or web services. Um, I think just for this example, we can talk about like a gaming app, like a maybe a mid core gaming, like a first person shooter or something for your phone. The way that those work often is like there might be in-app purchases that followers who see an ad and download it then buy and can get tracked back to a creator who posted the ad. Um, these companies are like pros at figuring out how much, how likely, and how much, and how quickly it is that the followers who are getting brought into the app are going to spend money over time. Like there are whole teams of these companies, like dozens of engineers and like smart people who are spending all their time and energy figuring out what the LTV, so like the lifetime value of users are as they come in. And so the way it works is like you might post an ad and you'll bring in bunch of followers will come in, they'll start using the app. A few of them are going to love it. They're going to buy up all the in-app stuff that you can get. They're going to buy like new stuff that they can use, like guns, whatever. I don't know what that might be. And then that will be reflected in like a high amount of revenue for the company. And others naturally just like aren't as interested and they're not going to like it. They're not going to use it, whatever. Um, Overall, the company is going to look at how much in the first like day, the first week, the first month is coming in and compare that to their standard model for like what the payback is. And so they're like they have very formulaic ways of figuring out like, okay, did this ad bring back an ROI that is projected to be positive? Like by the end of the year, am I going to make my money back on the cost of what we delivered? And so like behind the scenes, there's all this like crazy quanti stuff going on with like teams that like really drill into this. But I think this story is still the same. It's like if you make an ad that's very like the hook is very clear, and you can be like, hey, at level 5, there's this awesome thing you won't believe. Like whatever you speak to some feature that's very specifically tied to an important part of the product. Um, it is likely to yield an ROI that is strong, and the brands will totally recognize it. And the good thing too is they can figure it out quickly, and they can help up your compensation if you're doing well, right? So this is all very reactive. If your ads are killing it, if you're indicating that ROI is going to come around quickly, it's likely that you'll get paid more to do more of it. And these budgets can be quite large. So I think it's like hopefully that gives a little more like real world sort of detail. And we're of course here to like help with this sort of stuff. It's techie, but it can be good, and it can make some big bucks for sure.
Definitely. Cool, kicking it forward. Yeah, I think Alice has kind of hit on this one at the last point. So if we want to keep chugging through, next
Yeah,
slide.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, it goes without saying, creators need money. We've seen the in the past TikTok. I mean, now they're changing, and we haven't seen the true reflection of what TikTok's new ad strategy will look like. We know YouTube has been strong for the amount of years YouTube has been here. We've seen that Twitch actually has dialed back the amount of compensation that creators are going to be able to get on their platform at majority turns in the social media, the content creator, content, I mean, excuse me, the creator economy. We've seen that creators need more money. And so, it goes without saying that recession is going to be hard. It's going to be hard on everybody, especially on creators who, not only do content creation, they work a job. They have they work their full 9 to 5 job, but on the side they have 200, 300, 400,000 people who expect content every day to their inbox. So it's a really tough job that content creators have, coming up. They've had traditionally in the past, but definitely going forward in the future. So here's just a couple of different tips of how we think you should take advantage of being a content creator in the recession. And I think number one is super important. Is don't be afraid to run more ads. I think with all the creators that I've talked to, that I've had conversations with, they're afraid to litter their TikTok feed with ads. And I challenge that. I think, if you make, for example, one piece, two pieces of content per day, 7 days a week, you're running 14 pieces of content to your audience every week. If you're running one ad per week, that's great. Like, I'm sure that pays the bills. But who's to say that running 2 or 3 ads within 14 pieces of content is bad? I don't think it is. And you can turn and look at other social media platforms to see that there's more ads, in your face, and those creators are making money, but you're not turned off from watching. I think YouTube is a great reflection of this. You can
Yeah, Kevin.
watch
One thing,
video
one
after
thing I would
video.
jump in on that one too is
Hmm.
just like it's not run any ads. It's run ads
Yeah,
that are good for your
exactly.
community. Like you,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, like I know it sounds tacky, and obviously,
Hmm.
from a brand side, like we're gonna say something like this, but like
Yeah.
truly, if you can find products that are helpful, entertaining, fun for your users, it's almost just part of your content in that case. You're saying, hey, I found this really useful thing that helps me save money, and like if you actually believe in it and you truly got value out of it and you want your audience to hear about it, it ends up being a value add to your audience instead of just this guy's annoying, like he's a sellout.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And I think that might be what creators look to as like, oh, this is the bad model. This is what I should stay away from. And I think it's because, like you said, Andrew, there's a lot of creators that are taking ads that don't fit their community, and they're pushing them a lot, and they're making money. And creators are worried that they're going to look like sellouts. But like you said, again, just going back to you, that was just a great statement. If you're running ads for your community, for the audience, and they there's synergy between your brand and the brand that you're advertising, I don't think there's going to be a problem. And I think exactly like you said, there's a value add to your community to run those ads. And so I would not be afraid to run more ads. Second point is staying consistent with influencer marketing platforms. There's a lot of them out there. So there's a lot of moving parts for you to keep track of, but there's a lot of great deals on those platforms, from big brands, small brands, that could help, just add to this revenue stream that you're going to be building for yourself, and trying to maintain as we go through the recession. And this last point, supplementing these performance deals when the upfront deals become slow. I've worked with big creators where, they wait. And I think, there's plenty of creators that fall into this. We wait for the big fish, like the $10,000 deal is going to come, and that's going to pay the bills for 6 months. And then another deal is going to come, and that's going to pay the bills for 6 months. It's, you can supplement other deals while, you work on those big fish, while you work to close those deals. And I think, going into the next slide, Infuse, our platform is a great place to do this. We've, founded by Influent, we have a lot of great brands that we work with. And we built this performance-based platform because we noticed creators needed more ways to make money. And these brands want to activate great creators, have great ads. So this is the perfect mesh of having, a creator with an amazing audience, with an affluent audience that want to connect with their favorite brands, and giving great payouts and a great payment structure to creators so that they can keep this revenue flow, this revenue stream going in terms of performance deals. We launched our beta test in May, which we're super excited about. It's been really great. And we now have a wait list. So if you're interested, head hard plug, we're doing it. Head over there, infuseinfluencer.com, and join our beta. We're super excited, to bring these great creators to you. But I think we're gonna sum it up, and we have a couple of questions. And then we're gonna end it there. The sum up pretty much is what myself, Alex, and Andrew have covered throughout this presentation. Number one, and probably the most important, make high quality content, but also high quality ads. And don't be afraid to run more ads. If you have a great brand that's reaching out to you, you see synergy between, you loving the brand and loving what they stand for, and what that could do for your audience, don't be afraid to chase that deal and do more of them. Have a great understanding of your audience metrics and your analytics. Stay consistent with these influencer marketing platforms and supplementing performance deals when those upfront deals become slow. You want, especially during a recession, times are going to get tough. You want that revenue stream to be there for you. If times do get tough for you, we hope it doesn't. But that's exactly what you should do. You should supplement those deals when the big fish become slow. Alex, Andrew, care to add anything to this sum up? What do you guys think?
I think this is good, honestly. I mean, I think we hit
Yeah.
on a lot of points. I think when I was initially coming up with Infuse and the idea for it and laying it all out, I think that I just thought it was a cool idea, and it's almost become more relevant. Like I don't wish there to be a recession, especially when I go and look at my own stock portfolio. But given the fact that it's the reality of where we're at right now, I think that we actually are positioned in a cool spot to really help creators in a time where
Yeah.
things are going to get squeezed.
I would just also like, not to totally beat the dead horse here, but go back to the point about like asking what KPIs matter. I think it's a really good sign as a creator if you are taking that level of interest and being like, hey, I want to know specifically if you don't already hear from the advertiser, I want to know specifically what we're trying to hit on here, and then revolve your ad creation around something that is likely to deliver upon that. So KPIs are everything, man. I mean, that's how you can unlock some serious earnings.
Unlock those in serious earnings, guys. I saw the KPIs. We're gonna go into questions right now. Drop your questions. We're live on YouTube. That's where you're watching this. Drop your questions in the chat. We have 2 right now. So I'm going to read them off. Feel free to hop in and give you guys' expertise. The first question is, what's the best way to get set up on a performance-based relationship with an advertiser?
Well, so as you have heard plenty by now, we are all working to build this performance network, meaning Infuse will have a product that centralizes a lot of performance offers that you're able to run. And we're also often looking for feedback on what offers might be worth including. And if it's for specific creators who want to come on board and run them, and we can help get the terms set in place so you can go out and do your thing, that's great. Otherwise, I think, a lot of it is going to come down to like trust and execution. I mean, you'll have to find a way to track the results of what you're driving, and that can often be hard if you don't have fairly complicated tracking in place. Like, to speak to Infuse for a minute, just to go back, the way our system works is we generate unique links for each creator, so that way we can figure out what exactly is happening and make sure you get paid for the results you drive. It's pretty hard to do that unless the advertiser already has that in-house in some way. But yeah, I mean, what you're going to basically be tasked with is figuring out like some sort of sale after the fact of your ad going live. And if it's a non-sophisticated approach, then what they might do is just look at a time period, think about the number of sales that happen in that time, and match it up. But we prefer to go with a much more like neat and fair model, which gives you like the most accurate tracking possible.
Yeah, I would say obviously Infuse is the right answer, but outside of kind of what we're working on and building, I think any brands that like can help generate like a promo code for you or something that your users then put in, they'll be able to then really track that anybody that came in and used that promo code was based from you, and like that can be like the performance basis. This person put in this promo code, they checked out, it was Andrew's audience, so they can kind of track it back that way, which is a little less techy. There's also like all sorts of I think affiliate networks out there, like if you want to go just run anything on a performance basis. I think what we're trying to do is really kind of get some of the blue chip brands and get them on a performance basis. So I know Alex is hard at work at getting those brands, and I think that apps like Infuse or any brand where you can kind of generate some promo code and get paid on a further down funnel event would be the best way to get into it.
Also, let us know if you want to comment or something in the chat, like what offers are of interest. Like if there's anything right away that you guys are thinking about that would be interesting, definitely comment it and we can incorporate it and see what happens.
100%. Next question, and possibly our last. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. What is it possible to make as much money in performance-based structures as you do in a flat fee collaboration model?
So what I would say is it depends on how good you are as an influencer. If you're a really good engaging influencer, you're going to make more money on a performance basis. If you're just want to be like throw up an ad and get some money and like you're not as concerned with how well the ad does or what the brand ends up getting, which I totally get. I mean, get your money and keep moving. Then you're gonna make more on a flat fee for sure. So I think it really depends on how much effort you personally want to put into making good ad content and making sure that it's the right deal that will resonate with your audience. But if you're willing to find the right deal that will fit your content type and you're willing to make a really good ad or multiple ads around it, then you're going to make more money on a performance basis.
I think there's another just like anecdote I think of from my past work in the space, which was like we had a creator who came on board, already had 1 million followers when he joined, but was like not making money. Like he just couldn't find a good way to monetize. And he said performance was like running ads for performance is what he thought it would feel like when he or had 1 million followers. Like the power of working with his audience at 1 million followers and running performance deals was what unlocked monetization and like the sort of like dream way where he was like pulling in like many thousands per post multiple times a month, or if not more than that. So I mean the earning potential is absolutely there if your audience is large, you know how to engage them. So don't sell yourself short on flat fee. I think that's part of the idea. Yeah, stick with performance.
100%. All right. Those are the questions. I'm super excited. I think this is, a really important conversation that, we had today for you guys, for the creators out there. This is, something near and dear to our heart, especially in the times right now that we know, creators are just not getting paid as much as they deserve. YouTube is, holding us strong and tried and true. We know we love them, but TikTok, especially, and Twitch, they're just not doing what they need to be doing. So I'm excited that, we're able to bring these deals to creators, that, we're working hard to bring these resources to you as well, and make sure that creators get creators take advantage of brands and put some money back in their pocket, because the creators are awesome, and we really care for them. That is looking like our talk for today. How do you guys feel? Are we excited? How are you guys feeling right now?
This was great. Yeah, no, thanks, Kevin and Alex, for jumping on here. This was a great talk.
Of course.
I hope people got something out of it.
Yeah.
Check out infuseinfluencer.com.
Infuseinfluencer.com, guys. We appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us. Thank you. We're doing this every Tuesday, so please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Join our Discord, Club Infuse, for all resources. We network, we talk, we share ideas, we share deals, and we help each other grow and monetize. And we'll talk to you next week. See you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Take care.